Hi guys, today I am making a video on a topic that is kind of controversial in terms of what I might say, so just bear with me, give me some grace, and realize that we may have some differences of opinions here. But I am a mom, I'm a former foster parent, an early childhood educator, that's what my degree's in. I've been a nanny, a homeschooling nanny, a substitute teacher, so pretty much if you've done it with kids, I have been there. And so I just wanted to share the 10 ways that I get my little one to independently play. And it is a process. It's not one and done, and it goes through ups and downs. And so I just want to share my 10 tips to get your little one to play independently. So the first thing I would say would be to set your expectations and what you want independent play to look like in your home. So based on the age of your child and what you want as a family, right? So for some people, independent play is playpen time. Others, it's you have a blanket and your little one plays on the blanket. Others, it's quiet room time at a certain point of the day. Others, it is a specific place in the house. Sometimes it's a specific time, like you're going to independently play at this time. And then for us, we have a mix of both. So some in like specific times that you are going to independently play right now. And then it's also like an expectation that unless I am actively engaging in play, intentional one-on-one time with my little one, the expectation is that she is going to be independently playing at that time. Okay. The next important thing is exceptions. So there are exceptions here, right? So I'm not laying down hard and fast rules. These are just my tips. So considerations like, do you have a child with special needs? Does your child have ADHD? Do you have a teething child? Have you been traveling recently? Has there been a lot of sibling conflict? Do you have a cranky child? Do you have a hungry child? Just keeping all of those broad considerations in and set yourself up for success, and realize that certain ages, certain stages, and even certain children, independent play is going to be really difficult. And so you just set yourself up for success in terms of your expectations there. All right, this is probably going to be the most controversial thing I say, but something that is going to hurt, in my opinion, from what I have seen to be true, that's going to hurt, generally speaking, independent play is screens, screen time. Obviously, there's a wide variance in what is screen time in terms of, do you have TVs and screens all the time with highly engaging content in front of your child a lot, versus do you have limited screen time in your home? And it varies based on the ages of your children too. But generally, I have found in my experience that reducing, limiting, or even having no screens in your home for your little one is really going to help them independently play, because when they are expecting a really high level of stimulation all the time, that becomes their baseline of expectation of stimulation. So they're not used to boredom. They're not used to figuring out how to play on their own. They're used to something else stimulating them. So I know that's controversial, but that's just what I've seen from my experience. Okay, my next key to success is toy rotation. So for us, I rotate generally our toys about once a week. For independent play in our home, what works right now is I have a basket of toys pretty much in each room of the house. So my little one knows in each area of the home where she can find her activities that are going to keep her busy. And I generally rotate those to keep them fresh about once a week. And then there are other areas in the home like our playroom, our music area, that I don't rotate quite as often. Our playroom might get rotated once a month. Our music area might get rotated every couple of weeks. So just figuring out the toy rotation in your home. So following up to the toy rotation idea is figuring out the right mix of toys. So generally I found that having a mix of, number one, books, number two, open-ended toys, and number three, close-ended toys. So in each of our little areas I have in the house, I have a mix of like a book or two, an open-ended toy, and a close-ended toy. And that just helps her, for us, play independently. So just figuring out what type of mix works for your child. So the next thing is, before you are doing your independent play or expecting your independent play, For us, what works is to have a one-on-one time that I play or engage with my child. I call that the fill up her tank time. So it can be a short time or an extended time, but generally after we have our nap, I will have a one-on-one time to maybe work on something slightly more educational, or maybe a toy that I'm teaching her how to use, or read a story with her, whatever it is, something one-on-one that she's getting my 100% attention. And so then after that time, we have our independent playtime. So the next thing is practice. It's a skill. Independent play is a skill. So you can start out with a short amount of time. You could do 15 minutes a day or 5 minutes 3 times a day. It just depends on the age of your child. You know, are they in a playpen? Are they just expected to play throughout the house? And during that time when we are practicing, I don't respond to whining, which leads me to my next tip, which is during that independent play time, I strongly limit my interaction with the child so that they know that I'm expecting them to play on their own right now, that I am nearby, they're in a safe space, I'm in the house. If they need something, they can come to me, but I am expecting them to play independently, and we are going to practice this skill during this time. So obviously, if it's a slightly older child, you can explain to them, you know, this is your independent playtime, or whatever you want to say to them. But if they're obviously younger, maybe they're 1 year old, they're still little, you can, you know, make sure they know, like, I'm not going to be giving a lot of conversation with you right now. Like, maybe you're whining and you want me, but you have all of your needs met, right? You've got your diaper changed, you're full, you're not overly sleepy. Again, set yourself up for the success like I was talking about earlier. And right now, I'm expecting you to play on your own, and I'm not going to respond to whining. And they will learn quickly, practicing. Again, don't start out with a 60-minute period of independent play. If you've never done that before, start slow and build up the endurance, because it's like a muscle. You have to work that muscle of independent play. And lastly, my tip would be just to have either a timer or something visual. So once your child is old enough to understand sort of time and the visual cues, so maybe around 2 years old, you can put a timer with them. They make different lights, so like green light or red light. Like green light means you can get up, but generally I'm nearby my little one. You know, I'm not abandoning them completely, but sometimes if you want to have like a quiet room time or independent play in your room time, you can use a light, or mommy's going to open the door when it's time for you to come out. Until then, you need to play quietly in your room. So they make all sorts of timers and visual cues on Amazon, online. There's so many great options these days. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Please drop your criticisms. Please be kind. Give me some grace and realize that we all do something differently. But just drop your tips in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you encourage independent play. And it's a great skill for your little ones, because it's going to carry over into adulthood. And it's just something that really adds to the peace in our home. So if it's something that is new to you, start out small and just give yourself and your little ones grace.